texted Emma, who is Ashley's teacher. And Ashley was there when I did the demonstration. Obviously, it was Daddy-Daughter Day. Daddy-Daughter Day. I like that. Like that word dearly as much as Sacagawea. And so I thought it might be helpful to get her perspective on kind of how the how my presentation went and everything, because basically what I did was brought a large cage of horny squirrels into my daughter's 6th grade class, and when they're that jacked up on stuff, just on their natural hormones, their biogenic amines, their different hormones, like during permanent rut, and so what we did is we got them all adrenalized with the cattle prods. They were actually squirrel prods. We modified the cattle prods. Those were kind of primitive and barbaric. Plus, if you didn't control the voltage right, you'd blow one of those little suckers all the way across the cage. Just so we kind of took the guesswork out of that. We lowered the surface area that the current and the current that was going through it. Or no, actually, I think we raised the surface area and lowered the voltage. That's what we did. That way it's more of a stun instead of like, oh my God, I'm going to that great squirrel house in the sky. So anyway, I'm kind of filling time because she said she'd be ready here pretty soon. I think that's probably any time. But so bring the squirrels in, right, after we get them all adrenalized. You know what, I guess, yeah, or jacked up, for lack of a better term. That's the technical term. Then we picked the one we wanted. We, cranked the volume up on the squirrel prod, I guess, to stun, harvested one, brought it back, did an excision, showed the whole 3D tissue printing, matrix tissue printing that we've now got a portable version of, that we have given designs to the military so they can do in-field tissue reprinting for soldiers, and it's got the vessel-to-vessel access. So I mean, that was really a key in making the pelting process viable, is because through the fermion technology that we invested in way back in like the 70s, when it was just a dream, has really given us an edge on anything that's computing power. And so what we do is we match the squirrel vessels, and then we match the human vessels, and then we fill in the gap with 3D tissue printing to connect those vascular structures, I think, to a micron, maybe even smaller than that. It's very, very accurate, and it gets less accurate, obviously, the smaller your vessels, and we're still working on that. That's nanotech that we're working on. But so the whole process into an inner city kid. That is one of our projects. Is we give free pelts to certain achievers in the inner city that we feel are deserving, for a leg up. So that's a big deal to have a free pelting, and then obviously the nanomodulators that affects the vascular structure, that allows the squirrel adrenaline and other biogenic amines to be taken up. Obviously, we had to supply those as well, and we will keep some degree of control of those, as in his contract. But he was just well, we'll ask the teacher because she was there. So let's make the call. Let's see if we can get her. Come on, Emma. It's funny, every time I hear the name Emma, I think of Leap of Faith, Emma Schlarp from 3 Towns Over. Da, 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 da. Come on, there we go.
Hello?
Emma, hey, it's It's Ashley's dad. Did you get your stuff done? And is this a good time to chat?
It sure is. How are you tonight?
I'm good. How are you doing? How are the kids adjusting to all the new COVID stuff and all the changes in your curriculum?
Oh, they're doing all right. They're doing fine.
Good.
They get used to everything.
So anyway, I just thought it kind of might flesh this part out for people to more understand the daddy-daughter day that I found so humorous. But I wheeled in, and tell me if any part of this, because sometimes I'm not as accurate as I would like, but if I need to modify anything, tell me. But I think it was a 6 by 8 foot cage of squirrels. There were probably 40 squirrels in there, and we had 3 different species. Am I remembering that right?
Right.
And
we
so,
had a total of 40. We had a total of 45.
okay, 45. Good. I thought somebody counted them. Thank you. The official squirrel counter. And they were, is it safe to say they were very animated along many lines ranging from copulation to male dominance pattern issues? Is that
I've never seen anything like it.
It was like a barrel of monkeys, wasn't it?
It was.
There was that one bully. You know, that darker one that wasn't the typical gray squirrel, that was like the badass squirrel?
Right.
Do you remember him up in the upper? I think it was
do.
the upper. I mean, he just was decimating those people. That must have been like Iron Mike Tyson of squirrels. So anyway, the children were observing all that behavior, and it's safe to say that none of them had ever seen anything like that. And then I proceeded, I think I already described this earlier, because I've been rolling while just waiting for you to get your stuff done. I used one of the Squirrel Prods and harvested a squirrel, and then came back and actually did the excision of the pelt with the 3D tissue printing. I just think that's the coolest thing ever, since we've got that portable version now. And I don't know, I don't think this had gone through the last time we had our teachers meeting. This is just an FYI, it doesn't have any significance, but that portable tissue printer that we used that day in the office, we have given production rights to the government so they can have in-field 3D tissue printing for like immediate healing of certain types of non-lethal wounds. So we were really excited. Yeah, we were excited about that. We think that can do some good. So then the 3D printing process went in, and I just think the match was just perfect. And the picture that he chose of that lightning bolt, I forget what his name was. He was the inner city child that we donated the pelting to. The guy that distinguished himself so much in like the social social club things. Like he went and volunteered at the nursing home, and it's just one of those kids that you're like, really? Are you really doing that? So what was his name? What was his name? Do you remember? Was it Terry?
I think it was Terry.
Terrence. It was Terrence.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Okay, but it just went flawlessly. And I described some of the nanites and everything to control the vascular tone to deliver the adrenalized squirrel hormones more accurately, so people can learn to manipulate them. But I guess what I'm calling you for is, what were the children's perspective on watching a bunch of violent, sexed up squirrels, and then have one of their pelts excised? Basically, you just rip them off. I know that's crude, but I mean that's what it is. Rip them off and then be implanted right there in front of their eyes. What could they have thought about that?
Well, first we thought that the squirrels were fighting.
Uh-huh.
And when they realized they weren't really fighting,
Just
they thought
another
it was
one of the
kinda
F
cool.
words.
Right. And they decided that looked like some techniques that they might want to try out themselves. I think the favorite part was the actual pelting, and I was really quite surprised at how polite they were, that they didn't push each other out of the way.
Yeah.
To get
Yeah,
closer.
but so what was? How did they receive it? I mean, did it like
Well,
terrify them, or was it?
Susie came up to me and said, with those big blue eyes.
Which one was this? Is this that little
She
blonde
was
girl?
The little blonde girl.
Yeah.
Blonde curls,
She was
blue
adorable.
eyes. She said to me this was the happiest day of her life.
Oh, so they liked it, huh?
They loved it. Absolutely loved
Well,
it.
you
My
know,
grandson
I didn't know if our
is going to the
campaign,
filter.
I didn't know if our campaign had taken root or not.
Yeah.
But evidently it's resonated.
No, the kids were impressed. They were so impressed.
Wow.
They
And, well, okay.
Yeah.
I tell you, I'm gonna drive and talk at the same time. Are you cool with that?
Sure.
I guess that marketing thing that we did really, I guess, paid off then.
Right. That sounds like it did. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Good. And it was all uniformly well received.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And it was an excellent presentation. I was very impressed.
Well,
Very
it's the
impressed. Nice
technology.
selection of squirrels too.
It's oh yeah, no, I thought we brought those just to throw a little excitement in because
Right.
we
Well,
had
you did do that. You sure did.
well,
And
I
it
wanted
really inspired those kids.
oh really?
They're at the age now where they have to make a decision as to what they're going to do when they grow up. They're all kind of leaning toward that way.
Really? So
They're
they're actually wanting to be professional squirrel hunters.
Exactly.
Wow.
I mean, how great is that?
Nice. Well, it's
Yeah.
nice to know that the times that what you do and your presentation or whatever actually hits the goal that it was meant to hit, which is to basically show the kids real facts in more of an adult way so they can make an informed decision on their own about their life choices, which I think it's admirable that they're making them in the 6th, 7th grade now instead of, because in America, you see, you're an educator. Tell me what you think about this. In America, it's so drawn out. There's like, grade school, middle school, high school, college. And in Europe, you've been all over Europe well enough to know that in Europe, it's, you decide what you're going to be. And I think it's like 6 years altogether, but that's all of your education. That's your education for high school, college, the whole thing. And you have to have decided, basically by when you're a freshman in high school. Am I remembering that right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, over here, the fact that we're encouraging them,
Yeah.
well, we're giving them information that they can use as they see fit. So that's good. So it sounds like it was a home run. Well, anything else? Because I'm taping this for one of the Squirrel Hunter segments because I think passing, this resurrected technique from like pre-Aztec days, I think it's worth highlighting pretty heavily in the series because what percentage of people do you think now that you see? Because every stratum's different. If you go into the more underground polka scene, you're going to find crazy amounts of really artistically done, multiple pelted, woven pattern, very, very elegant pieces. You go into, well, all the different strata, but with the people you run with, what percentage of people do you think have at least some degree, even if it's one of the really small, like knuckle-sized variety patches? How many people what percentage do you think are pelted?
I would say, for my group,
30%? 40. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So, and I would assume, I mean, of course, I don't know. I guess if this is getting a little personal, let me know. But I would assume you run in not a wild and crazy punk rock rip and roar power drink do drugs group. I mean, is that a safe assumption?
Oh yeah, that's a safe assumption.
Yeah. So you guys are. It's a pretty sedate group, right?
Right.
You're not going to be knocking over any banks or liquor stores just for kicks on a slow Friday night.
No, not at all.
So for 30 or 40% of the people to be pelted, yeah, I think it's taken hold in the fabric of American culture. Well, not just American culture, the world culture. Now, our markets overseas are just going nuts. The Japanese cannot get enough of this. I mean, if we could find a way to line their mothers' vaginas with squirrel pelt that would be automatically just like slathered onto the baby as he came out, they would probably start using it. Not to put too fine a point on it. Okay, well, listen, I've taken up enough of your time. I know you're doing that cooking class, with your friends tonight. So I wish you well with that. What are you preparing tonight? Do you remember? Because I had to ask you about it before. Are you doing you're doing the bouillabaisse, right? Because I know you were talking about some last minute change. Well, anyway, it doesn't make any difference. I was just, I enjoy getting cooking tips.
I'm actually not cooking tonight. I'm actually taking tonight off. I cooked last night.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay. Oh, you're right. You're right. I dropped a day. Hey, well, listen. Thanks so much for your insights on the kids, and
oh, you're welcome.
And have
all of them. And this is a side benefit. None of them are going to go hungry ever.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever's left over, they can eat.
You're right. It's multifunctional.
So you're really setting them up in a win-win situation.
Well, you have to utilize all of nature's gifts in the appropriate way in order to have a sustainable permaculture,
Absolutely.
Okay, hey, Emma, thank you so much. Have a good night, and tell all the guys I said hi. Okay.
I sure will.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Wow, so 30-40% in a general culture. I know that audio was less than optimum, but this was a kind of an impromptu thing. Nice. So upcoming segments too, we're going to tell you more about our inner city program and what we're doing for the inner city youth to kind of give them a leg up, So I'll just, we'll keep floating with the episodes. This is such a big onion with so many layers and, odd little facets that you kind of have to take it in bites, So, I promised you a cold version after the hot version. This is it. This is another installment of an introduction to Lip Reader Story Time. I'm on my porch. It's subarctic. I have my parka on. I'm not joking. And I want to invite you to come on a journey with me. And I told you about it on the hot version. If you saw it, you get a different take. On this one, it's all impromptu. Beanie McPuffin was an exceptional man during his life. He began in Budapest, Hungary as an orphan. He pulled himself up by the bootstraps. He found a way to get plane fare to Jalutla, Mexico, in search of a myth that he had heard of in childhood about an ancient race of a civilization called the Chichimecas, which were the antecedents, were the fathers of the Aztec civilization, and they were known to be superhuman, just stronger than strong, and have almost immortality. but they also were covered with these strange squirrel pelts. It turned out to be that was the origin of the pelting phenomenon that is really worldwide now. All because Beanie. I mean, everybody. It's like, who doesn't have a pelt, right? You remember back in the day when you used to have like well, most of you won't remember this. Some might. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, hello. How can I help you?
This is Emma Schlark.
It's who? It's who?
It's Emma Schlark.
Emma.
I did.
Are you okay. Did Bobby put you up to punking me? Emma Schlarp?
Yeah, I know. The woman on
Oh, this is Emma, Ashley's teacher.
Yes.
Oh, I am so sorry. Is your name actually Emma Schlarp?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Bless your heart. And
I know.
I mean, do you get sick of that?
I do. It never ends. It just never
Oh,
ends.
this is so funny. So we've got this little bar. It's a social club, but it's to get around ordinances where you pay $1 to get in, and then you're a member of the social club. But in where is that? Charleston, at Folly Beach, and there's the first time we walked in there, the girl had on her shirt Brandy. Or no, that was her name tag. And I looked at her and I went, "Oh, are you a fine girl?" And her jaw tensioned, and it was like she was gonna explode. And I said, I could see that I had just hit a nerve, and I was like, I started backtracking really quick. I'm like, oh well, And so I think she even took a shot to calm down, but totally. That's an aside. So anyway, how can I help you? Is there something we didn't wrap up the other day? First of all, let me tell you, I really appreciate your input, because it's nice to know the perception of what you do. For people that are going to be taking charge of it here in what is going to seem like a microsecond. You know how quickly things pass, but it's nice to know what the young people are thinking. Right.
Well, my grandson is. I've seen that demonstration.
Now that's your grandson that's in school with Ashley.
Right.
Well, see, hold on. Let me get points here. It's Mike. Is that right?
Right.
Okay, Mike. And he's the one. His girlfriend's that cute little blonde on the front. What was her name again?
Right, Susie.
Yeah. The little blonde that looked up at you and said this was the happiest day of her life.
Right.
Okay, yeah, cool. So anyway, what's up? What's up with Mike?
Anyway, he's interested in becoming a certified professional squirrel hunter. And so we just wanted to talk to you about that.
Wait. You mean he was inspired enough where he actually made a career decision based on that? That is so cool.
Oh yeah. No, not only that, he's excited about getting pelted.
Really?
How old do you have to be?
Well, this was hard, but we managed to get it to go through. It doesn't apply in his case, but we can actually do it to newborns in certain situations where it's a life or death thing, because there are times why do most babies die? Most babies die because they have an insufficient amount of metabolic energy with which to sustain their life functions, because they've been born so prematurely, right?
Right.
So just think about what happens when you basically give them all the energy that their body needs to do their bodily functions. So really the latest ruling on that has been newborn with disease. Without disease, I think it was 4 or 5. But that would obviously be with consent of the guardian or whatever. Yeah, but
Right.
we're seeing kids, down in the 5 6 year old age range starting to get it, and it's weird because the subsection that appears to be applying for are the people that want to be athletes, and so you see these really macho fathers coming in, that always wanted to be that guy, and now his son can be that guy. Until the whole, it's going to be interesting to see where that whole thing plays out. But I guess that's the verbose answer of he's old enough.
Ah, okay. Well, he'll be excited to hear that.
Well, even more, is he around any place? Because I
He
can.
sure is.
So, what I tell you, what I will do for him, I will hand walk him through when he gets ready to do this, because people don't understand there's so much nuance in custom fitting a pelt for the recipient, and most of the
Right.
time this is a huge upcharge. I think what we'll be able to do for him is get him in on that inner city program, like we got, what was it, Marcus, was that his name?
I think it was.
I think it was Mark. That's terrible that I'm bad on names.
Yeah.
But we can probably get him in on that, where it will probably be free for him, especially since he's wanting to, go on into the profession. But what I was saying is there's a huge knowledge base that we normally do a lot of, like, molecular and submolecular analysis for, to see exactly which subspecies of squirrel matches for which donor, and also what the expectations of the donor are, because based on the different set of biogenic amines that you get out of the squirrels in different kind of the stress hardening programs we put them through, and their genetics. I guess I made this analogy not too long ago to somebody, and I think it's pretty apropos. It's kind of like when you have a really good wine knowledge base that carries through all these different, very subtle parameters, but all of them are really important. So does that make sense? I'll walk him through all that, though, and get the best thing for him.
Okay, all right. I know his main thing is that he wants to be the strongest squirrel hunter.
Oh,
And since you can't shoot those little guys because you'll damage the pelt, you gotta catch them.
well, on top of that, see, you don't understand. Let me run through. Is he around? And let me describe it to him just to make sure he knows.
Mike, come here a minute. Come here a minute. We're gonna find out about your certification. Here we go. Okay.
So Mike, so you actually want to be pelted and then want to go on and be an actual hunter, is that right?
Yes.
How did you figure that out? That is so cool. What was it? The fact that you'd be powerful? Is that what it was about?
Yes, completely.
Yes, completely. Okay. Or have you got bullies or something, or what are you going to do with all this power? Because I can give you a lot of power. Punch. Okay, good enough. Okay, so listen, I'm going to go over a bunch of stuff, and if you don't understand it, I'm sure Emma will. It still cracks me up. I'm sure Emma Schlarp will. I'm sorry to make fun of your name, but it's just one of my favorite movies, and the character is so sweet and just sweet and naive, but in an endearing, not a demeaning way. He's a lovely character. You trust me, it could be worse. I knew a priest one time that he comes out and his name was Freddy Krueger, and you're like, Priest Freddy Krueger? Are you kidding me? And he did the same thing you did. You're like, no, I hear it all the time. But I'm going to run over some stuff, and she can explain it to you later. And if you have any questions, you just stop. You just, yank on her arm and stop me anytime, okay?
All right.
So the process from beginning to end is really complex. Because we've got such a satellite network, that surrounds the Earth, we can pretty well geomap and heat and hormone track pretty much around the globe. And so we follow really all species and subspecies of squirrels, and I won't go into how we tag them, that's really complicated, or how we do the hormonal analysis. But
Yeah.
we know, we have a great knowledge base. I was going to say we know everything about, but we don't. We're just scratching the surface. But we've got a great knowledge base about what these different subspecies of squirrels, what kind of genetics they have and what kind of possibilities they have. Because the first thing we do is we bring the squirrel in, and we actually we get his nutrition up. We make sure he's really, really healthy, so he can produce everything we want him to produce. He is a hormone power factory to us. And so we I guess, for lack of a better word, this isn't accurate, but it's the old we fatten him up thing. But we give him really good nutrition that's based on functional medicine and goes really to the submolecular level. So it's interesting diet sometimes of weird plants and herbs and different things, but we get the squirrel as healthy as it can be. And then we go in and we do a genetic modification on them. It's called an iatrogenic single nucleotide polymorphism procedure. And it's basically where we take out a base pair out of their DNA, and when that base pair comes out, they are no longer able to synthesize whatever we want them to. We basically genetically alter the squirrel in order to produce whatever we want to produce. If somebody wants to be chill and they're just naturally hyper, we can bring out the serotonin and the GABA and all that stuff and chill them out indefinitely. Or the other end of the spectrum, which is what he wants, which is, it's called biogenic amines. It's adrenaline, it's epinephrine, norepinephrine, dopamine, which, is what is, that's good stuff. And so to do that, what we do is we give it a single nucleotide polymorphism for catecholomethyltransferase, which is the enzyme that degrades your biogenic amines. So it's basically what breaks down your epinephrine. It breaks down your adrenaline. And so in the absence of that, your body's producing all this adrenaline and I'll tell you more about that in a second, but producing all this adrenaline, and nothing's breaking it down. So it's quite something to see. But then on top of it, we put the squirrel in stress reconditioning after they've accepted the genetic modification. We put them in stress reconditioning, which is basicly a series of electrified cages with certain other stressors like high pressure water jets. I think you saw the squirrel. What did they end up calling those? It's like a cattle prod for a squirrel. Because there's other cattle prods. If you dial it, were you there when I accidentally got the unmodified squirrel prod the other day? I don't think you'd come in the room yet, had you?
I don't think so.
Yeah, because you'd remember it. Because I forgot what it was. I was like back in the day, and I hit one of those little things that knocked it all the way across to the other side of the cage. It was like a movie scene. It was weird. But so we get those kind of things that basically put them in assaultive fight or flight situations,
Right.
and let that adrenaline really pump up. And we have got ways that we can tell when it's at its peak. Because there's this one principle, and you see, the Two Green Thumbs gardeners did a great retrospective of this. It's about hormesis. Actually, they started some of the early studies on this for plants, but it goes back to the old what doesn't kill you makes you stronger philosophy. It's a biphasic response. When you put any living organism through a stress, you can put it through a certain level of stress, so the amount of improvement you get after the stress is not only back to where you were, but it's way above. So whatever doesn't kill you really does make you stronger, but it's also biphasic, so that if you go too far and the organism can't take it, then wah 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 wah, which is not what we want after we've invested all that, genetic stuff in the research. So we genetically modify the squirrel to give us what we need, and then we basically dial the volume up with different kinds of stress sensors. And then after that, when we're ready to go, we actually put them in kind of a suspended animation with some different inhalation things that just put them in kind of like further into squirrel hell, if for lack of a better thing, but they're out. And then at the peak of whatever, or like in this case, it would be squirrel hell in the other direction, we'd have them all chill on everything. But when we get that to the highest level possible, while they're sedated, we have robotics that will go around and very precisely carve every square millimeter of the pelt out in a very precise way that makes a super clean cut. And we're using a cold laser so it won't coagulate the vessels and therefore make them, not useful. What we're playing with now that looks like it's going to be really in mainstream is we also cannulate the pelt through a couple of major vessels, and we start forcing our hemoglobin substitution that they're going to be on pretty soon through their large vessels at the same moment we harvest the pelt, and thereby put positive back pressure on the vessel. So the vessel for sure doesn't close, because you do have some closures when that cold laser goes across it, and that's in order to minimize that. So the reason this works is all because of our ability to perfectly match the vasculature down to an arteriolar size, and we're even researching with capillaries. So, I mean, if we get capillary size down, it'll be like it'll be absolutely seamless. But down to the arteriolar level, and because, back in the late 70s, I don't know if you know this, I'm kind of giving you a retrospective of what McPuffin did, but Beanie invested in fermion technology early on, which led on to quantum computing, which really is one of the reasons we're predominant in everything, is we've got the ability to crunch more data than anybody. I mean, we laugh at Google, Microsoft. We have a little figure. We have a little figure at work that we call it Microsoft, and we prance it around in a mocking fashion, just because we can. I don't know. That sounds egotistical, but Beanie was just enough of a trendsetter that I feel like that's not too inappropriate. Sorry, off topic. And so we're forcing the fluid out of the vessels, and we exactly map the vessels on the squirrel pelt, and then we exactly map the vessels on the person who's going to be accepting the pelt, the receiver. And then our computers lay in through 3D printing, tissue printing, an exact match between the vessels. And so we basically put it right in. The vascular flow's already established. And then all we have to do, and this is crucial because without this can be lethal. In the case of taking people up with more power, if you take them down, it's actually worse. They're not lethal, but they're kind of a vegetable. So when I say this is important, it's important. But we implant nanites that we train the person's autonomic nervous system and higher cerebral functions to meld with in order to create a neural connection for that person to be able to use what they've got. And at the beginning, it's kind of like if you put him into a car and you said drive the car and it was a clutch, there'd be some like, there'd be some. So it's kind of like when they're adolescent and they don't really have their voice yet, and their voice is changing, to learn how to use one of these things. So for the ones that we donate, we monitor and accept control of that for a period of time, and we can talk more about that later. But then basically what you've got is an unending reservoir of adrenaline that really does kind of give you superhuman strength. And if I remember right, he's a small guy, right?
Right. Yeah, I was gonna ask.
Yeah, well, we'll do all the
That's
weight
gross.
matching and everything,
Lord.
he has to pass some psychological tests too, which I mean that'll be easy. But
All right.
we the other day we had a child in. I think they were 5. Parents were really creepy too. I mean, like beyond Adam's Family creepy. In a really in a children under the stairs way kind of creepy. I don't know if you ever saw the movie, but we asked the kid, we're like, well, why do you want this? And he just had answers like to see more blood or to rip the pelts off of the we were just sitting over here going, oh my God, Hitler much?
Oh my God.
So anyway, needless to say, he did not meet the benchmark that is required to receive a pelt. We do this with some amount of social responsibility. So anyway, that hopefully is the whole recap for you, buddy. Did you have any questions about any of that? Did you understand most of that? Ooh, I got a bad connection. Speak up a little louder. I'm sorry.
It will make me grow taller.
It will make you grow taller and faster and stronger. You're exactly right. Okay, well listen, let's do this. Emma, let me see what I've got open next week. Oh, and I was going to say, I think I know. Let me run backwards. I got onto the process, and I forgot to tell you. I know exactly. The species for him. I can even send it over to you if you want me to.
Oh, that'd be great.
It'll be a cross between a Madagascar and an Indian cell line. Because those are really big animals. I mean, like bigger than a Chihuahua, and they're multicolored and they're really cool colors. Did he want the haired pelt to stand out, or did he want the nude pelt that just see? And then we got to talk about all that. Does he want hair or no hair? Does he want any coloring on it? Does he want any symbol on it? Where does he want it implanted? All that kind of stuff.
Oh wow!
So just let him be thinking about all that, and we'll talk again.
That sounds good.
Well, we've got an intake form. We'll send that over to you, and if you'll just fill that out and get it back to us, then I think that should be really good.
Perfect. Well, we sure appreciate you spending time with us.
Oh, I love this. I mean, there's not.
Excited. He's been talking about it just nonstop ever since the demonstration.
Well, we feel really good about what we do. We feel like we're making the world, safer and better, and just giving everybody more life and more of the life while they're here. So, okay, Mike. Hey, listen, buddy, I'm proud of you, and we'll be in touch. Okay, Emma.
All right.
Hey,
Good.
I tell you what I'll do. I'll have Barbara send over a copy of Leap of Faith. How about that? Just joking. Just joking. Don't hit me. Okay. See you guys later.
All right.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Wow. That's awesome. Oh, crap. Okay. I can cut this out later. I guess I got all that. Nice.